Donald Trump is threatening to run for president. I told you that. And he's also saying, if you elect me again, I'm going to pardon the terrorists that tried to overthrow the US government. Of course he will. Let me give you some background. Donald J. Trump said this at a Texas rally. Here's the clip.
We are going to start by ending Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all. And then we're going to kick the Biden crime family out of the White House in 2024. And another thing we'll do, and so many people have been asking me about it, if I run and if I win, we will treat those people from January 6th fairly. We will treat them fairly. And if it requires pardons, we will give them pardons because they are being treated so unfairly.
I've been criticized when I say Donald Trump radicalizes terrorists. That's what he does. He is the terrorist radicalizing terrorists. Now, he's not going to go out and overthrow the government personally, right? But you do know that if he could have gotten away with it, he would have. He would have destroyed democracy, ripped up the Constitution, and that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to create an undefined space to where the Constitution was silent so they can make up the rules. That was the idea, that was the design. And they had multiple avenues working on that one goal. So Trump's comments came during a campaign-style rally in Conroe, Texas, in which he complained about the criminal prosecutions that Capitol Rioters have faced as a result of their attempt to interrupt the counting of the Electoral College votes after he lost the 2020 election. His comments reflect the growing sentiment among Republicans that the Capitol Rioters should be forgiven and the events of that day forgotten, as the House Select Committee investigating January 6th has issued scores of subpoenas to individuals and organizations as part of its probe and is expected to release an interim report on its findings this summer. What will the report mean? Not a damn thing. Nothing. Okay, we'll read it because it's newsworthy, but it moves nothing. Some of Trump's allies in Congress have pleaded for pardons for these terrorists. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a potential 2024 Republican presidential contender, recently called 1-year commemorations of the Capitol riot an effort to smear Trump supporters, okay? The DOJ has charged more than 700 people in connection with the Capitol attack. Some of them have been charged with what's called a seditious conspiracy, which is your attempt to overthrow the state, all right? Trump raised the prospect of pardons after a speech repeating his lies about widespread voter fraud, causing his loss to President Joe Biden in 2020. Republicans in state houses across the country have seized on Trump's lies to enact new laws that will make voting more difficult for some and to pursue ongoing reviews of the 2020 election. So let me make this very clear and very plain. They have a strategy. The strategy is they want to pick the voters because they are afraid of the voters picking them. Strategy one. Strategy two. It's not just about who casts the ballot, it's also about who counts them. So they are strategically placing vote counters, directors of elections in places throughout the country so that they can control and manipulate the outcome of elections. And then strategy three, they want you to question any result that does not favor them. Those are your three strategies. They're implementing them now in real time. Anna, what are your thoughts on this story?
It's pretty terrifying how, openly, brazenly, Donald Trump is willing to push for a complete deterioration of our democratic process, or at least what's left of it. And he uses intimidation, coercion, whatever he has in his toolbox to get what he wants. And so we used to have a terrible political climate where you have two political parties that are captured by the same corporate interests, and essentially, substantively, they're very similar policy-wise. But Trump has decided to take it up a notch. Whereas, the Republican Party used to be pretty pro-corporate and all of that. Now there's the added terrible nature of wanting to do away with our democratic process entirely. And what's even more terrifying about it for me, Dr. Richey, is the fact that you have Republican lawmakers who know that what he's doing is wrong, but they're such cowards and they're so afraid of him that they enable him. And then on the other side with the Democratic Party, I mean, how could you not be furious with the lack of fight coming from the Biden administration to ensure the passage of a voting rights bill to mitigate the damage that's being done by Trump and his enablers on the right? I mean, of course, the heart of the problem is Donald Trump, but we need to have a robust system in place to mitigate not just Trump, but any future figures who might come up and just completely flat out refuse to accept the outcome of an election. And don't have a proper opposition party to Trump right now.
I agree 100%. It's like Democrats are playing baseball without a baseball bat. I don't understand it. And remember, the reality is this: democracy is fragile. It's fragile. That's why we depend on decent individuals who may disagree with you politically, not to rip up democracy in the process. Trump is not a decent individual. And so you see the fragility of democracy right in front of you.